Hey, welcome to the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. Excited to spend time with you again today, working on your business and all things that are important to you. Today, we're going to be talking about something that is a trap that a lot of us fall into. This is something that is a regular problem, and I myself even fall into it. So I'm going to be looking straight into the mirror on this one and admitting that this is a struggle for me as well. Now, here's the thing. When you first are starting out something new, when you're starting a new business, when you are starting a new anything, when you're starting over, when you're really getting out of the gate and you're getting started and you're getting things rolling and moving, there's a temptation that's out there. There's a temptation that's out there to go and make things a lot more complicated than they need to be. Because what ends up happening is you look at people in your area, people in your space, people around you that you know that are doing similar things. And you look at what are they offering? What are they doing? Well, they have 3 different programs. They have a course, they have a coaching program, they have a book, all of those things. Okay. They have a website, they have a podcast, they have a YouTube channel, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook. Okay. And so what ends up happening is you think and you fall into this trap of, well, I need to be there too. If I'm going to be real, if I'm going to be considered legitimate, then I need to have all of these things in place as well. I need to have books. I need to have a website. I need to have a YouTube channel. I need to have Instagram, Facebook, all of these things, a podcast, whatever it may be. And I need to make sure that I'm putting these things out there like all the time. So what do you end up doing is you spend a lot of time building, spend time writing a book, which if you're going to write a book and you're actually going to do a good job with it and you're going to put it together in such a way that it's well thought out and it's well organized, it's well written, that takes a lot of time. It is not no matter how many of these jokers try and tell you, oh, write a book in a weekend. Well, you can. No one said anything about the quality of the book. No one said anything about how good it would actually be or that if anybody would actually want to buy the thing. Sure, I mean, I can write an entire book if I just sit there and hold down the letter K on my keyboard and hold it for about 3 hours straight. I would have pages of content, quote unquote, if I did so. Now it's all gibberish. But hey, there's a letter K on all the pages. Okay, that's not really writing a book, is it? Same thing with all these other things. If you want to have a website and you want the website to look good, you want it to look professional, you want to have, your coaching program established, you want to have a course established, you want to have some ebooks that are for sale or in addition, you want to have, I need to have some lead magnets out there so people can opt in. So they can put their name and email in and they can go and they can, opt into my email list. So I got to set up an email list and I got to have all these things in place and I got to be doing webinars and on and on and on. So what ends up happening is before you've even made $10,000, before you've even made a significant income from any of this, you have buried yourself. You have absolutely buried yourself in all the things that you're creating and all the things that you're building, all the stuff that you're putting together. And you've become so focused on, hey, I need to have this, I need to have that. And you haven't yet focused on actually growing the business to the point where it makes sense. You're building a small empire for a business that barely even exists. And so this is something that needs to be thought about. This is something you need to take to heart and you need to really consider, because the core problem that most of us are going to face as entrepreneurs isn't a lack of ideas. We tend to have lots of them. We tend to have lots of ideas, lots of things that we can do, lots of things that we can put out there. The problem isn't a lack of ideas. It's that we have too many ideas competing for limited time, money, attention, and energy. We're trying to do all of it, and we're trying to build all of it instead of just focusing on one thing. And that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about the power of one, why it is so important for you to start with one audience, one problem, one offer, one message, and one primary way of finding customers. If you can just stay on that path, that's enough to build a real business. That's enough to build something that's actually going to start making money, because this is the tension that we all fall in, is we get so busy building this, building that. Oh, now I have this, now I have that. And at the end of the day, what I hear is what I don't have is money. What I don't have is income, because we're chasing too many things at the same time. So the thing that we have to keep in mind is the first thing we really need to focus in on is how can we build one thing that works? And once we build that one thing that works, then we can build off of that later. But the problem that we run into is complexity creates confusion, simplicity creates clarity. And that's something that I think all of us would do well to take to heart. Because when we get started, we confuse more activity with more progress, because we look at our website, we go, oh, look, I built 3 new pages on the website. I've created an ebook. I've written a book. I've done a video. I've done this. I've done that. And we're always creating, changing, building, posting, learning, launching. And all of this activity doesn't really necessarily translate into progress. We've done a lot. And this is not saying that you're not working hard. This is not saying that you're not making progress, but we've kind of created an entrepreneurial buffet. We've created a world where we have lots of stuff on the table available for customers to consume, but we really haven't developed a strategy where we're building any of it. We've created it, we're not really turning it into a business yet where people are actually buying it and consuming it. So, when we hear and we start thinking, well, maybe I'm just missing a piece. And then we hear somebody say, well, you need a podcast. Someone else says, well, you need to be on YouTube. And then it's like, well, you should be doing a webinar. You need a low ticket offer, a high ticket offer. You need a membership. You need a community. Okay. And the problem, the good thing and the bad thing with all that is none of those are terrible ideas. None of those are bad ideas. Webinars are very powerful tools for getting clients. A YouTube channel, there are people out there that are making a killing with a YouTube channel. Same with a podcast. Same with memberships. But the problem is that we can't try to do all of them. We can't try to build all of them at the same time, because what we do is we're dividing our attention. We're dividing our energy. We're dividing our focus. And every time we take on another priority like that, we're really taking away attention from something else. We're taking away attention from what we should be working on. And instead of becoming really good at one thing and becoming excellent at that, we're becoming mediocre at about 10 things. We're becoming good at a lot of stuff, but not great at anything. And then over the course of time, you've built all these things, you've spent tremendous amounts of time, energy, and money putting it all together, and you finally conclude it's not working. Why? Because you don't have clients really coming in. You don't have income and sales coming in. And that's not really a true statement. It's not that what you're building isn't working. It's just you've never really given any one piece of it enough concentrated effort to make it work. You've never actually put your sole focus on one piece of it enough to really get it to the point where it can succeed. So imagine this. Imagine you have the first, coach. in this scenario. And Coach A has 4 programs. He has 3 target audiences that those 4 programs are designed to serve. He has created 5 lead magnets, and he's on 6 social media platforms. That's a lot. And then you have Coach B, who has 1 audience that he's targeting, 1 clearly defined audience. He has 1 major problem that he's solving. He has 1 major offer that he's out there promoting. And he has 1 marketing channel that he's focused on. Which one do you think is likely more successful? Which one has the easier business to explain, to market, to improve, to run? Probably Coach B. The second one, the one who has 1 focus, 1 mission, 1 thing that he's really dialed into, 1 thing that he's really working on. So what we really want to think about here is clarity is going to compound. When you can focus on 1 thing and you work it and you work it and you work it, it starts to compound over time because you become very, very good at it. You become very skilled at that 1 thing. But when you add complexity, it multiplies all of your effort. You have to all of a sudden work twice as hard or 10 times as hard to be as good at all of it. So the simpler your business is, especially when you're first getting started, especially when you're first moving, it becomes much more easier to grow. It becomes much more easier to build. So the question then becomes, who do I help? What problem do I solve? Who do I sell to? Why should someone choose me? And how do people find me? And exactly what should I be focused on? So that brings us to our next point, where we want to talk about building your business around the power of 1. That is really the heart of what this episode is about. We want to talk about having 1 audience. You don't need everyone. You don't need to have all the different things. You don't need to have all the different products. You don't need to have all these different people. You may be looking out at the world, whereas, well, I could help those people with that, and I could help these people with this, and I could help those people with that. Okay, you need to pick 1 group of people and say, those are people that I could serve really well. I would be exceptional at serving that audience right there. If I could just focus on them, that I would be so good at helping them. That is something that I am very, very gifted at, something I have immense talent for, something that I really enjoy doing the work. This is something that I love doing, and I'm good at it. I've developed a lot of skill. I have a lot of passion and interest in doing this type of work. I get excited by doing this type of work. And I could really do that. So you want to start with those types of questions. You don't want to start with who could potentially buy this, because that's a little bit of a trap. Because what ends up happening is you say, well, you know what? Someone would offer me, $500 if I did this work for them. And when you're first trying to get started and you're like, $500, I'll take it. Someone wants to pay you, that'll help. So you take it. And then you think, well, someone else want that too? But what you're not asking is, A, is this really what you want to do? B, is it what you're really good at? Or was it just a chance to get $500? And then later on, someone else will pay me to do this. Someone else will pay me to do that. And you become very broad in what it is that you're doing. You become very split. You become very spread out with the things that you're doing because you're not focused. You're not sitting there saying, who do I understand deeply enough to help create a meaningful transformation? And I get it. All of us take on jobs. All of us take on things in the interim to try and pay the bills. I get it. I get it. But we also have to be careful because those interim things can distract us and keep us from building the 1 thing. They can keep us from actually growing the business. We're so busy spreading ourselves out across all these different things, we never actually get around to focusing on the 1 thing. So I want you to ask yourself that question. Who is that 1 group of people that you can serve exceptionally well? What do they look like? And what is this audience? What are they composed of? What type of people tend to be in this type of audience? Know them and know what it is that they need help with. And then next, I want you to ask, what is the one problem that you could be really good at helping them solve? Now, the thing is that your target audience, the people that you're trying to reach, probably have 20 problems. They probably have a whole laundry list of things that they need help with. When you're first starting out, don't try and solve all 20. That's a mistake. You could be there for a very long time trying to solve 20 problems. What I want you to think about is, this is my one audience, and this is the one problem I'm going to focus on selling. And get really, really good at it. And so you need to ask yourself, what problem are they actually trying to solve? What is something that's front and center in their life and they really, really need help with that? And you're going to say, I can do that. I can take care of that for you. I can solve that. I can handle that problem. No issue at all. I can knock that out. And when you do so, what ends up happening is you become known as the person that solves that. You become very well known as, you're the person that's really, really good at that. Wow, if you have a problem with this, go to them. They're amazing. They're really, really good. And what that does is that starts to create authority for you. You start to get a little bit of a reputation, in a good way, of being known as a person who can solve things, of being known as a person who can handle things. And you become that go-to person for that one problem. And then you want to create one offer for that problem. You want to create a systematized way of solving that problem. Like, you don't want to have, when you're first starting out, well, I could coach you through it, but then I also have a course, then I have this group program, and then I can do some consulting or training, but then I'm also creating a mastermind. Oh my word. Trust me, I've tried to run that many businesses all at the same time, and it is exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting. The thing that you have to keep in mind is, you want to start off, you want to build one solution that you're known for. This is it. This is our core offer. This is my audience. This is the main problem that I can help them solve. And this is how I do it. And what's going to end up happening is, you're going to get really, really good at solving that problem. Because here's the thing that you have to realize. When you help your first client get a solution, your first client needed this, this, and this. Great, got it, no problem. I can solve it because based on their circumstances, this is what's most important to them. This is what they need. Bam, got it. Your second client, when you start working with them, you go, their situation is a little bit different. So I need to modify it a little bit. It's essentially still the same solution, but I need to accommodate a couple extra little things. The third client may be slightly different again. So what you're doing as you're building this out, as you're serving more clients, as you're doing this repeatedly, what you're doing is, you're building a scenario, you're building a system and a process in your offer that can handle a range of things within the same solution. You can handle a range of different circumstances all within that. And what ends up happening is, you develop mastery. You're not just, well, I could help that. I helped that one person with very, very specific set of circumstances. Okay. But no, now I've helped 25 people across a variety of circumstances, but they're all facing the same problem, the same type of thing. I'm helping all of them. And now you've got skill. Now you have mastery, because now you've worked through all these different things from all these different perspectives, from all these different circumstances, and you're really good at it. Now you're learning. Now you're learning from each scenario. You're like, okay, don't do that. Because every time I've done that with a client, it went south. It didn't work. Okay, no matter what, we have to avoid this. We always need to go over here, and we can give a little bit of flexibility here, but we need to stay on track with this. Because if I let them take me off track, then we have a problem and we're not getting the solution. So all of these deliveries, all of these serving of your clients, they teach you something. Every single one. And sometimes you'll get a client and go, whoop, that's not the right client for me. I'm working with somebody that is not a fit. And you look at it and you go, well, then I need to know that that's not my ideal client. I need to be able to say, nope, when I encounter a future potential client who was like that person, I need to look at them and say, yeah, I'm not going to take that kind of a client on again. I'm actually going to decline, because I've worked with them in the past and I realized that is not my audience. They have enough variations, they have enough differences that it's not going to work well. So I'm going to say no, because it's going to turn into a bigger headache than what it's worth. And we've all done those. We've all taken on clients. We've all taken on situations. We've all taken on projects that later on we went, ugh, I will gladly give this client their money back just for them to go away. And that's sad, but it's also real. It's also the real world that we live in. So when you do that, when you develop that skill and that mastery, then you can really have one message, because now you know who you're serving, you know what problem that you're solving, you know exactly the type of client that you're looking for, you know exactly what you're willing to do in your offer to solve it, and now you can develop one consistent message. If this is you and this is your situation and this is what you need, this is how I can solve it for you. And you become very, very clear. And you become very, very consistent. And people know, hey, if you need help, go talk to him, because he knows exactly what he's doing. And his message is clear. It's consistent. It's very, very easy to understand. You don't have a lot of questions. I know exactly what to do. Then you can develop one primary client acquisition strategy. So you don't have to be on podcasts. You don't have to go speaking. You don't have to be on YouTube, LinkedIn, email, network, You can develop and nail down one place that you can consistently go to get clients. And as that works for you, as you're consistently pulling in clients, you're consistently pulling people in, you can just keep repeating that process. You can keep doing that, because that's what works for you. That's what's successful for you. That's what is your one lane. And don't worry about trying to expand into all these other lanes, because I'll be honest with you, especially if you find like one social media platform that works really well for you, that you're getting a lot of clients, you're getting a lot of action, you're getting a lot of exposure, you're having a lot of success here, don't worry about expanding. Don't worry about going down another path. Don't worry about doing something else. Just stay right there, because you're having success, and keep building it, because these platforms are huge. We start thinking, well, now I need to go over here. No, just stay right here until you exhaust it. Keep going. So just to summarize all the points we've talked about so far, you want to have one audience, one problem, one offer, one message, and one primary acquisition strategy. If you do that, you'll have a business, and you won't be scattered. All your energy will go towards actually building a business, instead of building out all of these things, building out all these assets, building out all these resources, and never actually having a business. You have a lot of stuff and you have a lot of expenses, but you don't have a lot of income, and you don't have really a big business. So then the question really can become, what am I just supposed to do one thing forever? Am I really, really supposed to just do one thing for the rest of my life? That's a good question. Here's the thing. No, you're not supposed to do one thing for the rest of your life. Simplicity doesn't mean staying small. And it doesn't mean that you can never expand. It doesn't mean that you can't grow. It means sequencing your growth. It means adding things after you have something already working. When you already have a business that's active, that's successful, that's working and moving in the right direction, now you got something. Now you got some power. Now you got some success. You have some things going. And what ends up happening is you can now optimize that process. You can optimize it. You can take a strategy that's working. I now have a steady stream of clients. I know how to find them. I know how to get them. They have a message that they're responding to. All of this is working. All of this is making sense. Great, great, great. Now I can optimize and systematize, and you can start even bringing people in to help you. You can take over that piece. You can take over this piece. And now the business starts to run at a much higher level, and you're not even doing everything anymore. You now have a business that's generating income for you, and you're not even the one having to do it all. Now you're getting some success. At this point, now you can start adding complexity. Because now you've earned the right. You don't just have a bunch of stuff that you created that no one's buying. You have a business that's successful, that has clients that are consistently coming in through a systematic way. You do that, now you're adding in other things. So now that you have it, now you have expertise with this client. And now you know, okay, this is what they're really interested in. This is what they really need. This is what's really important to them. What's the next thing I could offer them? What's the next solution I could provide to them? Okay, great. And now you have intimate, deep knowledge of this group of people. You understand them really well at this point because you've been working with them for a while and you're making money and you're doing a lot of things and you're having a lot of success. Okay, fantastic. I now know what they need. I can add something else in. And now you can start expanding because now you have systems, now you have support, now you have a process in place, and you have infrastructure that you can build off of. It's not just you trying to take it all on your own back. The thing that we all have to guard against, the thing that we have to all watch against, is that we're building and expanding because we're having success, not because we're bored. And this is something that catches people all the time, is that you see people that they start working on stuff, they do it for a while. That was entertaining to me for a while, but I really don't want to do it anymore. I'm bored. I'm tired of doing that. I don't want to sit here and take that on anymore. I don't want to be involved. I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to try something else. So then they hop on a new idea that they get excited about. They do that for a while. And I don't want to do that anymore either. See, they're doing it based on their attention span. They're doing it based on their personality, on what they want and need. They're not doing it because it works. The way to create a successful business is to build what works, get it established, get it operational, get it systematized, get it built so that it's strong, and now expand into the next thing. Now expand into the next level. You can build, you can grow, you can expand. You don't do that because you just don't feel like doing the other stuff anymore. You do it because of the success that you've had, which is why it's very, very important for you to make the right offer to the right audience, doing the right thing at the beginning, just where you need to spend a little time thinking about what it is that you need. So in wrapping some of this up today and kind of closing, what I would like to do is ask you to spend a little bit of time to try and develop some focus. If this is new for you and you're just getting started and this is a new journey, you're like, well, I don't know what I want to do. I want you to spend a few minutes, sit down with a piece of paper and write down 5 things. Number 1, my one audience is. Who is that audience that you really know that I want to serve these people? These are the people that I care about. These are the people that I feel called to. I feel led to serve this audience. These are the people that I love. I love working with these types of people. Identify what that is. Then once you have a good idea who those people are, think about my one problem is. What is the one problem that they need help with? And again, remember, they likely have 20 problems. They likely have 20 things that they're battling and trying to deal with. Don't solve all of them. Find the one thing that you know that you can do exceptionally well. The one problem that you can solve. Third, your one offer is, what is the one thing you're going to do? Don't try and create coaching and courses and all the, no. What is the one thing that you can do? What is the one, you can easily pull it together. You don't need to spend 6 months building it. You can put it together right now. And you can do it right now. Once you have that, your one message is, how are you going to communicate the value of what it is that you're doing? How are you going to communicate what it is in a simple, clear, effective way? How are you going to communicate what it is that you're doing? And then lastly, my one primary client acquisition strategy is, in other words, how are you going to get them? Do you know that, like, I go on this platform, and when I'm on this platform, I get clients? Okay, that's your acquisition strategy. You need to build on that. You need to get more of that. You need to keep working on that. You need to keep developing that, because that is your path. And that's your one path. That's the one thing that you need to be focused on, instead of trying to build everything, trying to serve everything. Just because somebody else has it doesn't mean you need to have it. You can have it someday, but you need to do it in the right sequence, in the right order. So this is what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm going to encourage you to do this one thing at a time. You can give yourself this gift. You can, as an early stage entrepreneur, you can give yourself the gift of simplicity. Don't try and build everything. Don't try and write a book, create a course, create a coaching program, create a website, create a YouTube channel all at the same time. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to exhaust yourself. Try and have singularity in your focus. Build the one thing that you know you need to do now. And then once you have clarity around that, once you have success around that, once you have repetitions that are building you an actual business, now you're going to have mastery, and that mastery is going to allow you to expand. You need one thing working, get that thing working, and when you do, you'll have success, and you will actually have a business rather than a website with 100 fancy things on it. So that's today's episode. I hope you found it helpful to you. Hope you got a lot of value out of it. As always, if you're interested in learning more about what we can do for you, please go to designlaunchgrow.com, and we'd love to hear from you. Fill out an application to start the conversation. Otherwise, have an amazing day, and I will see you again in the next episode.